Hello, and welcome to Scuttlebutt, the War Movie Review Podcast. We're happy to have you with us as we take a look at films from the dawn of cinema to today. We aim to provide a raw and unapologetic review of each film's cinematography, historical accuracy, and delivery. In the process of analysis, certain details will be revealed. These spoilers are only divulged to ensure a fair assessment of each film. We head into the heart of the Central Pacific this week with Allan Dwan's 1949 Second World War epic, The Sands of Iwo Jima. As always, I'm joined by Mike A.
Hello.
Mike B.
Yeah.
And Nate.
Chipotle's good.
So guys, what'd you think?
Piece of fucking shit.
Ooh,
I did not like it.
that's Nate's opening statement.
It's a flaming hunk of burning shit.
It's a very product of its time. Yeah.
Well, I will. I mean, I guess I'll lead off. There's again with every hunk of pile of shit. There's some really good aspects to it. There seems to be like that recently, where we're just getting, parts of a really good film, but it's the style of the film or the way it's interpreted or whatever that always holds it back. Again, and I'll keep it brief on my end, is like, I say it's on a steaming pile of shit, but I have to put it in its box. This is a box film. This is what we always say. We got to put it in that time frame. And I will say, the thing that I was most impressed with was the amount of extras and the amount of props, the amount of pyrotechnics, the amount of physical effects, practical effects within this. I know it's big Hollywood. I know we're at the forefront of epics and all that stuff, but it's very, I think you have to give it some credit into that. Now, story, I don't give a crap. It's a propagandistic piece of shit, and I hate it for that reason alone. Again, I have to put it in its box. It's 49. The reds are everywhere, like, I understand. But the point is, it's like, we got to put it in that box. So if I put it into that box, it'd be pretty high. But I can't do that because we're comparing everything to everything. And in this day and age, it just does not hold up as a story. John Wayne is John Wayne, and I can't take it anymore. I just got done editing Green Berets. You guys had a break. I didn't. I have to go straight into the next one. So I'm like John Wayne out with his saunter, with his sidestep saunter and his banter and his accent. I can't fucking stand it. But in terms of the practical effects and what it is, I love seeing the war footage. The real war footage in this was great. So, I don't know. Just for what it was, it's okay, but that's my 2-paragraph spiel.
Yeah, this should be called Stock Footage the Movie. I mean, a lot of movies were. It's funny how much movies were able to get away with that back then, integrating stock footage into, movies, because the black and white and the quality back then, they could, put them side by side and have them match enough, to where general audience isn't going to know, or care to think about. The Longest Day does a little bit, but this is probably the most I've ever seen. They're just like whole sequences that are just stock footage. And it's great, if you're if you're a guy who loves looking at like wartime footage, it's great. And a lot of it I recognize. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen that before. And there was a lot of that, especially the Iwo Jima stuff, where I'm like, oh, I remember that. I've seen it in a lot of documentaries, but yeah, that was just kind of amusing when it started. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing of the time. Then as it went on, I'm like, man, they're really using the stock footage. It's like its own character. Yeah, I mean, what else is really there to say? It's a John Wayne film, and that's pretty much it. It's funny. I'm not a John Wayne hater, but I'm also not a fan of him, if that makes sense. I see him for what he was. He was an icon of the time, and it's like all the John Wayne films I've seen, I'm not really a fan of like classic westerns. I kind of like some of the spaghetti ones because they're more goofy and shit like that. But when I started really diving into film, I started looking at, like watch Rio Bravo, watch The Searchers and such. And every time I'd watch these epic westerns of John Wayne, I was, people say, what do you think? It's like, it's a John Wayne film. It's the same thing. It's just, there's nothing really to say about it. It's a product of its time. So yeah, I'd never seen this before, so it was interesting to see it. But I was also a little shocked. I was like, man, for a movie called Sands of Iwo Jima, there's a lot of not Iwo Jima in the movie. It's there's a lot of Tarawa in it and stuff like that, which is cool. I mean, I don't know too many movies that feature that, but seemed like kind of an unusual title. I think maybe that came later or something, that title. But anyway, my thoughts.
It's an interesting movie. I remember they used to watch, or I think I first saw this when they played it like on TCM on Veterans Day or Memorial Day, like when I was a kid, or TNT even. But TNT really didn't play like black and white movies. But yeah, so I've seen it a bunch of times, and I don't know. It's really easy to shoot down as being this John Wayne trope and stuff. But as Nate said, if you really can conceptualize this movie for when it was made and its time and stuff, it's interesting. That being said, though, it's even dated in its approach for 1949. It's much more like a 1940s wartime propaganda movie, but it's made after the war. So it's interesting because Battleground comes out the same year, and it's an amazing movie. It's a much better movie. It's about the siege of Bastogne, and it has none of this, quote, John Wayne, like gung-ho, oh, we're going to win the war kind of stuff. It's just guys in a bad situation. And that literally came out the same year. I think it might be the same picture company too, Republic. I'll have to look it up. But it's just interesting. It's dated for even when it was made. But it cements so many things. It cements the flag raising. It cements, war films being profitable. We get a million of them over the next 10, 15 years. And it also cements John Wayne and that idea of Americana. So it's a very interesting film. It's more revered than what it actually is like. It's a much shittier film than the lore. But if you think about it in 1949, terminology and things, it's very interesting. And
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just not in general a fan of old war movies from about, I don't know, during World War II until the
50s.
No, later than that.
Wow.
Even up until about the mid to late 60s, they're all, besides a couple like Battlegrounds, not bad. We should do that at some point, but it's very few and far between that I'm actually going to enjoy a war movie from that point, because they're all the same. This one's got a little bit more of the shitty fucking romance shit that comes along with John Wayne and subsequently forever. And I don't know, John Wayne himself, like, to me, he's like the Beatles. Highly fucking overrated, but because he was such an iconic, propped up and whatever, people think he's a lot better than what he was, and his films are just, I mean, boomers creaming their pants every time you mention his name.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get it, but like, I'd have to agree with Nate though. Like, this was one of his least, not cringy, but like least shitty performances. Like, at least he was more animated than he was in his later like cookie cutter tropey films. And this did have a lot of tropes, but a lot of it's of the time, like the shitty writing, the shitty lines, the goofiness, quote unquote. It's just fucking lame. And I'm gonna say that about most war movies too, so I'm not just singling this one out. This one's just egregiously shitty because it was like so iconic, and it still is so iconic. Oh, you see the Sands of Iwo Jima? My God, such a good movie. It's like, no, it's okay. It's not just from a filmography standpoint and all that shit like Nate was talking about, and I agree with you on a lot of that. So, but it's just when shit gets propped up this much and it's this product, it's I don't know, it just annoys me with anything. Like when something gets so popular and it's really just mediocre. I don't know. I don't understand it. But anyway, good things about it. The uniforms were mostly okay from what I saw. The helmet covers were late in post-war, but like, who cares? That's just a little thing. I really didn't look, to be honest, with most of that shit. The Japanese stuff, I'm not even gonna fucking waste time. I'm not even gonna waste time talking about that shit show.
You mean the dark helmet construction worker, like,
yeah, there was the fiberglass civil defense helmets.
Yeah.
That's what they were, and they're wearing like U.S. fucking dress uniforms at that. It's just fucking ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, Yeah, the whole like getting shot falling, that whole thing from the 40s through the 60s just fucking is irritating. But no, so Japanese stuff, no. Yeah, there was a lot of cool practical effects. Like the grenades when they were throwing grenades were just a little puff of smoke. Actually, the only film I think I've seen where that's portrayed correctly.
Yeah, not a
I'm
pyrotechnic.
not shitting you. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's not bad at all. And like the
No.
explosions and shit, the practical ones. Again, there's not this huge fireball because it doesn't translate on black and white. It's just a bunch of dirt and shit flying up. Not bad. So yeah, there were some redeeming qualities about this one, and the extras very cool. A lot of them.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what's most impressive about this film. Let's start with the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like the amount of extras that were in those wide shots, and even with like when they landed in Tarawa and all that kind of stuff, like underneath those kind of bunker like structures, which I know they're just facades and stuff, palms and stuff. I really did like that. I liked all of the pyrotechnics within that. You know, even the stuff in the water that was setting off in the same place, like a Disney carnival ride. You know, it looks really good.
Yep.
You know, like I kept an eye on them, like it's gonna be good. But I loved all that. Brian, you got your hand up.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to review this now is because if you're listening to this around the 20th of November, this is the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Tarawa. And there's really only two movies that show the Battle of Tarawa in any way, shape, or form. It's this film, which is the longest uncut sequence of it, and it's a film from the 60s called Tarawa Bridgehead, which uses all the scenes from this movie. And then mostly it's on Guadalcanal, and then 5 minutes they're like in the sand field, and they're like, "We're on Tarawa," and then the movie ends.
Why isn't the movie called The Sands of Tarawa? It's more about Tarawa. Than
I was gonna
Iwo
make
Jima.
I was gonna make that joke too. Yeah.
So Flags of Our Fathers touches on this film and why it was made and all that bullshit, and they basically wanted to tell a Pacific story around the flag raising, and to do that, they also wanted to talk about some of the bad fighting that the Marines had in the Pacific. Which is interesting because this is really the only films that has like a lot of time in the plot. So you see a lot of changes. Like it comes in with the first wave of replacements. And then you go through battle and everything. And then like you get the next wave and they're just as eager and younger as the beginning of the film when they show up. So it's an interesting aspect. Like, it's like the only film that shows two campaigns in one. Because everything's usually like, we're going to go to Cape Gloucester. We're going to go to Guadalcanal. That was bad. The end. But this one is like, it's very geared for how the fighting in the Central Pacific was. But yeah, this is really the only film that shows that. And it really does show that they watch a lot of stock footage, obviously, to take stock footage. But they did try with the sets. I'd say Tarawa looks a lot
looks
worse
like it.
than...
Tarawa looks a lot better than Iwo, because Iwo is brown. From California.
I like the way they shot Iwo because it's like the beach is slanted and everything, and it's well done. They did the best job they possibly could with Tarawa. But the problem is that, they basically found a sand spit and put the one big bunker on it. In reality, those were all concrete bunkers that were covered in sand for generators and stuff. They weren't even real bunkers. And the whole battle they took is the famous battle from the famous Marine footage taken, the short film that won an Oscar in 1945 with the Marines Tarawa, which shows in the sequence of events Lieutenant Bunnyman's Medal of Honor event where he led a party of Marines up to the side of this sand encapsulated bunker that was giving the whole division a really hard time, and they were able to take it out. And he was killed subsequently because a bunch of Japs ran out of the side of the bunker, and he killed them with a flamethrower, but they were able to shoot him at the same time. But that's all on film. So they literally just took it and they made their own version of it. Instead of Lieutenant Bunnyman, it's John Wayne doing the whole satchel charge, whatever shit. And but it is really cool that they do show Tarawa in some way, shape or form. Amtrak's galore, the Marine Corps is like, hey, fucking, you want cool shit? Let's do cool shit.
Well, I was gonna say, if we're talking about the good stuff, aka cool shit, like you just said, the blowtorch and corkscrew scene I thought was kind of neat on Tarawa. I mean, that you can tell that's an actual M2 flamethrower. That's being. You can see the pyrotechnic sparks shooting out of it. That they, you can tell when it's a propane mock-up because it doesn't have that, but a real one actually does shoot out those sparks out the muzzle like that.
Well, he's got the revolver in the front. It's like 6 or 7 cartridges, and you pull it, and that's the spark.
But you can see them shooting out of it, and it's like, oh, that's a real one. So
it's fucking cool. One of my favorite sequences is that, or it's only there because guys that were there knew it happened and they had the stock footage for it. But after they get off Tarawa, they have the burial at sea. Well, what a lot of people don't know is that, obviously in the Navy, when someone passes away in a ship or dies in a ship, you bury them at sea because that's what you do. You can't have a dead body in a ship. Well, they did the same thing to Marines. So Marines that were injured or whatever in combat, if they passed away in a ship, they would have a whole ship detail for burying. And you never hear about that. You never see it at all. So that was kind of interesting to have that. That was all their wounded that obviously weren't going to make it back to New Zealand or Hawaii at this point.
I was just gonna say that the other really interesting footage is obviously that really famous shot of, I believe it's Brian and I, we've all studied this when we were doing combat cameraman stuff, with the Japanese and the Marines being in the same shot together.
Oh,
that shot's in this
for
Tarawa.
with Marines at Tarawa. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Norman Hatch in his 35 millimeter IMO.
Yeah, and that they had that in this, and it was in pretty damn good quality. Because I've seen it in really crappy quality, and it was actually really good quality.
Yeah, well, this is the wartime print. That was, I think it's a BAR man stands up, and there's a Japanese squad moving from right to left.
Yeah, and he
there's
rakes
6 or
them.
7 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was right after they blew up the bunker, and they were moving forward. And that's where also the very famous scene that you also see it in the film is where the Marine is like looking back and forth. He's got a crate of hand grenades he's pulling up with him in the sand, and he doesn't know where he's got one ready to throw. He doesn't know where to throw it. It's a very famous bit of footage, but it was very neat to see.
Yeah, and during Tarawa, I felt like it played more of a. I think during Tarawa, the original footage played more of a role in progressing the actual story and being used. For Iwo, it felt very much just insert this here, insert this here, insert this here, insert this here.
Flamethrower tanks
thing.
now.
The only thing I've never seen before, just talking about original footage, and maybe you guys can comment on this. I've never seen the trucks, the artillery trucks. I've never seen that. I didn't even know
the rockets.
Yeah, I've never seen them like that.
Very common Marine Corps late war thing. Okinawa and Iwo Jima. You know what they are?
No.
They're hedgehogs. They're the anti-submarine rockets the Navy was using, and the Marines.
That's why they look so familiar.
Fucking just put it on a truck. Just put them on the
right.
international M248s or something. And
Right.
some Jeeps got them as well. And there's some interesting footage of actually. There's the one counter battery bit of footage in it. It's a very famous one where like the truck shoots off all its rounds, and then the camera starts to shake, and the guys are running away. And then a fucking Jap mortar lands right where the truck was.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. I've never seen that one.
I've seen that a lot. I've seen it very blurry, like you'd mentioned earlier. But this is the first time I saw it like very
clear,
and like
I'm sure I've seen it blurry in 1997 on the History Channel when it was 420p resolution. But I haven't seen it. That's the one good thing about this movie being on. Oh my god, don't watch it on fucking Pluto. It took me 18 hours to watch this fucking
because of
movie.
the ads. Yeah.
Oh my! 5 ads every 15 minutes. Yeah. It was just awful. God, fucking made me mad.
But
I was watching it for free. So
one thing about that footage, though, is I didn't realize before is that they're carrying a guy in a blanket and they drop him. The Marines let him go and they run another 10 feet to the revertment. And the last frame you see before the round lands is the guy's looking up at the blanket like, really? And then, bam! I'd never noticed that before. I just noticed there were guys running away from an explosion. But that being said, something I really did like about the whole terror sequence was the coffee scene. Like, that could be a short in itself, Guys fighting a combat, I gotta get something. And then someone, having a lapse of judgment. You're like, oh, wow, I haven't had that, in so long. And then it turning into something bigger. I did like that. I always liked that in this film.
It's a moment that I think is very real, that I think is something that could easily be done with a lapse of judgment. Try and do something kind for someone else, but then taking advantage of it for yourself. Because he brought them coffee. But the only thing that ruins it, in my eyes, is, and again, it's from the time, I can't punish it for that or be mad about it, but I punched my last ticket.
That's a thing of the time, you
right,
see
exactly.
stuff like that in Sergeant York and
right. All the black and white movies, it's like, I'm gonna take the long nap now.
Yeah,
like I just
that's why I said like there was a lot of this movie where it felt like a almost a parody of like a really well done parody of this kind of genre. As if it's like when you watch a Black Dynamite, it's like that Black Dynamite is such an amazing parody of blaxploitation. You could almost buy that it's an actual blaxploitation film. This almost
It's like The Big Lebowski, is what you're saying.
yes. You always revert back to this. We can
Always go back to
compare
that.
it to The Big Lebowski.
I will say. Oh fuck! It's gone. God damn. Oh, that was it. I found it. I found it in my brain again.
Fuck, that's it.
The one thing that I was shocked by, actually shocked by, because I've stayed away from John Wayne movies for a while. He's a cowboy in my mind, just like Clint Eastwood is. So I don't watch him in really anything else other than westerns. If I do watch him, so seeing him in a World War II film is different for me, because I've seen this in clips like Brian said, TMC and all that stuff, or whatever the country old time fucking
TMC. Turner Classic Movies, yeah.
Turner Classic, yeah. And
TCM.
TCM,
right.
yeah.
It's TCM. Okay, I was close. Dyslexia.
Turner Movie Classics.
Was he actually fucking dies?
I know. I laughed out loud when he
just
died.
shot dead, and I'm like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's something I don't ever really see. That is one thing that was very interesting about that film, is that, yeah, I understand he dies and it's all that crap. It's just, but like, it's just, I get it, but he actually dies. I was expecting him to get shot in the chest to be like, don't worry guys, I'm John Wayne. I will take this fucking Mount Suribachi by myself while I have a bleeding lung shot, in my chest. It's okay. I'll smoke this pack of cigarettes of Marlboro and we'll take this fucking hill. Like, that's what I was waiting for. But no, he's fucking dead. I'm like, all right, well, that was good at least. So
I'm glad he died. That's what you're saying.
like I got shot in the chest.
I'm glad John Wayne died. That's what you're saying. Brian?
It's funny you say that because, the other war film he does 3 years earlier, They Were Expendable. The film ends with him exchanging his seat on a C-47 for a wounded soldier so he can go fight the Nips in Bataan. It is very patriotic, like, I'm giving up my seat for a wounded man because I am not wounded. And then he's dead 3 years later. And the reason is that because he has to, like if he doesn't die, this movie doesn't cement the American myth and ethos of like John Wayne being the man, This is literally gung ho. The film about the Marine Corps Raiders made in 1943, but John Wayne is now the lead, and it's 6 years after the fact.
They're constantly.
This is like the.
Go ahead.
One second. This is like the best World War II propaganda film, but it was made after the war. This is just everything that, if they had a big budget for with the Marines of Tarawa, this is what Hollywood would have made it into. So this is just all that patriotic fervor is eclipsed in this, and he has to die. Just John Wayne dying, first off, oh my god, but secondly, it's like he is entombed as the man, and the man dies, but he dies for a noble reason. And even though he's dead, come on, we got to keep going. We got to take this island.
Yeah, we got to read a fucking letter for 10 minutes straight in an active combat zone.
He hasn't seen his kid since 1938. But anyway,
hold on.
Well, it's funny it's funny you say that this is a weird it is because right when it started, I don't know what that song is called, that Marine anthem.
The Marine hymn.
Okay.
Hey, Mike A, can you repeat everything you just said? Your mic's going in and out. Yeah, just start again. I think it stopped doing it.
Okay.
I just want to make sure, because what you were saying was good. I liked it. That's why I stopped.
No, it's interesting that you say that this is it's a propaganda film, but after the war, because that song, that Marine song, I hear it so much in this movie, and when the movie started, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a recruitment film. It's one of those, and it absolutely is. But hey, guys, the war ended 4 years ago. Like, what is I guess gearing up for Korea, maybe, I don't know. So just what?
Tweak it
again.
Tweak it again. It's doing it nonstop.
Oh
It's driving me
dude.
absolutely batshit nuts. You're gonna say it for the third time. You're gonna be so like.
I'm not gonna say
fucking,
it third time. You get what you get, dude. How does it sound now?
So far, so good.
Okay.
I'll let you know if it blows out.
All right.
instead of
Sweet
blowing
Idahoan
in.
voice.
Well, when I get some extra money, then I'm gonna get a new one because I am absolutely sick of sitting here talking and all you guys saying, "Mike, your microphone's fucking up," and I'm just like, "What the fuck am I
Have you
gonna
actually-
do about it?"
Have you actually listened to it?
I
before?
have, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah,
So,
it's fuck. Get one of these things. They're fucking amazing.
Right. I'll do that because I'm just like, oh my god, dude. I don't even because I don't know
If you
what
want
it's
to
doing.
donate to the podcast to buy Mike a
Get
new
me a new
phone, or
microphone.
This is a
new
good time to talk
microphone,
about
yeah.
our Patreon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That still remains at $0. Your $5 can help.
Every 37 seconds, Michael's microphone fucks up. We want to make sure little white boys like Michael can have a microphone at work.
Jesus.
Please donate to the Idahoan microphone fund.
When you donate $5, you can even help a small Dutch boy with his microphone problems.
He's got his hands occupied in that dike. He's trying to hold back the water. He can't buy a microphone. Or you can. And you can help little boy.
This is when he logs off and just leaves because he's like, "Fucking making me watch."
He
a
don't
John
wear no
Wayne
comfortable
movie."
shoes, but damn, does he need a microphone?
Are you a director? Are you Dutch? Do you want to be on a podcast? Well, send a letter to Mike B in 6969 Washington Way, Wisconsin. There's only one street in Wisconsin, so
Only one. It runs all the way through it.
it's pretty long.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's the epitome for just all the propaganda films made during the war. Oh, and by the way, John Wayne wants to be the lead. So
old
It's
ass
just-
John Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like I don't know, late 30s probably in this. Yeah.
I think he was early 40s by this point.
Okay.
His skin allows him to still be animated at this point in this film.
Mhm.
He's not like a pudgy Pillsbury doughboy walking around. His whole expression is just sag.
Yeah.
You
Once
know,
you get into
like-
that longest day, Green Beret John Wayne, it's kind of like, ooh.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's like Buffy
Night-
Elvis, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Buffy
It's late 70s Elvis. Yeah.
Heroin Elvis.
In a land without Botox, your face just sags.
It's
I
Colonel Parker era
always-
Elvis. Yeah.
I always confuse his death with Elvis and going, right, John Wayne's not the one who died shitting
No,
cheeseburgers.
he
Late-
no, he died of
Late John
cancer.
Wayne.
I know that. I just
He
like,
outlived
when I
Elvis.
when I think about John Wayne dying, I'm like, my very first thought is the Elvis on the
You just-
toilet. And I'm like, no, he died of a horrific cancer.
Yeah.
Because it was the 70s, late John Wayne looks like late Elvis because the collars are so high and shit. Like there's this
Yeah.
great interview of him in like 78. He's like smoking on his boat. He's got like a beige shirt on with like a white jumper. So I could see why.
Wearing a
just less
leisure
studs
suit.
and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. a great powder blue leisure suit.
Yeah.
Like,
I just went to the
I hate
latest
John
rendition of what Nathan collects his VHSs right now, and right now I went to the store and I found just a fuckload of John Wayne films on VHS. I got some of the ones that Brian mentioned earlier. I can't remember what the one he said. The Expendables and something else, and
they were expendable.
I got that. I
the
got
Expendables
another
on
one.
VHS is pretty rare.
Really?
Well, seeing
Got it
as they
for
came
10
out in
cents.
2009, and
The
they stopped making
Expendables.
VHS
oh,
tapes
right,
in
sorry,
2006.
right. I thought you meant the real VHS.
No, I don't.
No, they were expendable. No, but I got a few of his westerns on that, and that's what I've been watching, and it's like watching his color change just on VHS is disturbing. So you
Yeah,
mentioned,
whiskey and meat and steak didn't treat him very well.
No.
All those combined, just like all at
Yeah.
once. That's a hell of a
Yeah.
meal.
The American diet,
Right.
So to talk about this, because I think Mike, I think you've talked about this. Ira Hayes and the other guys
Yeah.
in this film.
Yeah, Ira Hayes, Renee Gagnon, and Mike's what's his name? Not Mike.
Bradley.
John Bradley. John Bradley. They actually do appear at the end. They're in the group of the flag raisers, and they're in their actual positions that they thought they were at the time. Ira Hayes turned out to be the only one out of that surviving bunch who was in the photo, but. Yeah, he's the one. It's funny. They I love how they pause, so they can get the photo, and they have a really strong fan blowing that flag one way. So it, but yeah. So Ira Hayes is one of the guys he's the guy who's like this at the very back with his hands up, and So yeah, they were in the movie. They had a little cameo at the end there.
Zed, I
Cute.
think you said something about how he fucking hated it.
Well, I don't know about that. I think Brian, do you have something to say about that?
I have the passage from the book.
Go for it.
It's so I remembered that they talked about this a little bit, and this is an excerpt or this is a bit of a letter that Bradley sent to a friend of his who's an Easy Company, who's an Iwo Jima vet. He said, "They didn't get us out to California to help make the picture. All that was a cheap publicity trick to get a little free advertising for the movie. Republic Studios was making the movie. We were out there only 2 days, and most of the time was spent fooling around. I think the only time we were on screen was for about 2 shots. The flag raising only took about 10 minutes of filming. If you think you will see real action like Iwo Jima by seeing the picture, I really think you will be sadly disappointed. Chief Hayes said that they have the picture so fucked up he isn't even going to see the movie." So that
Yeah.
kind of explains
I
it.
remembered that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
said.
Yep.
That's pretty good. I've never read that. Ira Hayes, man, that poor fucking guy, dude. He just had a life.
The real
of hell.
MVP.
Yeah. Well, he just had a life of hell after the war too. I mean, he died as an alcoholic. I think he wandered off drunk onto out into the wilderness and just died of exposure, I think. And yeah, it's sad.
There's the scene with him in Flags of Our Fathers. And he's acted so great in that film, but I forget the name of that actor, but the guy from
Michael Beach.
Wind Talkers.
Yeah.
just, oh my God.
Talk
so
about
well.
redemption, dude. Like go from
Yeah.
Wind Talkers to that,
Well, he actually wasn't bad in Wind Talkers.
No, but it's a shit movie.
It wasn't his fault.
As an actor,
Yeah.
he's not.
No,
bad.
he's not a bad.
The
No, the movie sucks.
is
But like,
trash.
that's a great like redemption. Like, I can do actually a really good, World War II movie. Go ahead, Brian. You
I
were
still
talking.
haven't watched it.
Yeah.
I still think it sucks.
But the scene where he's in the field and he's like, he's working the fields and like the family stops in Sudan and like, look, an American hero.
Right.
And he's like, takes out the American flag. Like,
Yeah, and then immediately the guy's like, lift the goddamn basket.
you did this thing. Yeah, you did this thing on an island 10 years ago. Then you're kind of known, but you still have a lot. It's just you can do things that are that make you famous, but don't give you fame and
That
I don't know. It's just
that movie
it's
does
sad.
the last act of that movie does a great job with showing that like you can be like the biggest hero for a fraction of a second, but then the next day you're just an average nobody again.
Hero to zero. That's
Right,
what we
yeah,
call it.
because that's what happens at the end. They talk about their post-war lives. It's like, they just John Bradley was kind of they show that he kind of wanted to forget about it all, but like Ira Hayes and Renee Gagnon, they just went off and became nobodies. And nothing wrong with going off and just living an average life or or having the shit end of the stick. That's just what happens to people. But it just goes to show that they didn't become huge celebrities afterwards.
An event is a time and place,
Mhm.
and it depends what you do with it after the fact. Because I do remember that Renee Gagnon tried to like get all the things that were offered him during the war,
And no one
like
cared,
in
yeah.
the Pacific, with John Basslow, and it's like, oh, John Basslow on this, John Basslow on that. Oh, again, you have a time and a place, and it's just
Yep. Once it's over, that's it.
we all get 15 minutes, so
Mhm.
some people don't get to extend it.
Anyway, I'd love to keep talking about Flags of Our Fathers because it's a much better film, but maybe we should focus on the John Wayne film.
Well, I think I will say this: Flags of Our Fathers was, I think, really the next film to tackle the subject of Iwo Jima
Mhm.
and the flag raising, since this film cemented it as an American icon. I mean, the photo would always make it, iconic, but this film really cemented that fact. 4 years after the battle, seeing a version of the flag raising. Oh, I know that photo. This is so visceral.
Yeah.
And it's pre-Korea, it's pre-Vietnam, it's
Damn.
this it's pre-real Cold War shit. So it's this tail end of World War II and really a public reacting to like, an experience during the war.
Mhm.
So it's interesting,
Yeah.
This film does a lot, even though it's so shitty. But a lot of shitty films that are just released in the right time and right place do a lot.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time watching that, but I respect it and I know what it is, and I know it's time and place, and I know, oh my God, the door it opened for everything.
You mean the original Max Schreck
Yeah.
film? Yeah. It's
Y-
it's
y-
an academic experience.
Yeah, well, just like the
What's the other one? Dr. Calibri's Cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I get it. Fuck it, that's hard to watch. Holy shit.
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
that from the past.
And-
I'm only gonna say if Brian says it's hard to watch, then it's really hard to watch.
Yeah,
so
like Jesus.
I'm just gonna put a blanket statement on that.
But
Someday we need to watch some great like old B movies like Plan 9 from Outer Space or something.
Oh God.
Glenn or Glenn.
I thought you were gonna say like something different. Like we should watch artistic movies like Field of Pomegranates or something like that. Let's go watch Stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go
like-
watch
like,
Pee Pee
not-
Tom. Yeah.
Let's go
Not-
watch Watching Paint Dry.
That's an actual movie. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
the
It's a
UK
great
one.
story.
Yeah.
This
is what we'll do, Michael. You go get a 30 rack. I'm gonna get a pound of weed, and we're gonna go watch MSTK 3000. Okay, that's it. We'll do.
So what? That's right. I was about to say like the movie with the meatballs, and I realized you guys found out what that was. The Leviathans or whatever the fuck that thing was. No, not the
What?
Leviathans. Fuck the meatballs in the airport. The eat people. It's a B movie.
Oh,
Mike knew
Langoliers.
Exactly what I was talking about.
Langoliers, dude.
Langoliers.
Yeah, you couldn't remember the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're like, I thought that was
yeah.
a fever dream from my childhood.
No,
Yeah.
no. Well, then we have the same fever dream, and that's fucking strange. Get out of my head.
I love Bronson Pinchot screaming his
Asshole.
head off, but
Yeah.
I just remember the CGI scene of like the runway. Like,
it's
getting
so bad.
disappeared.
Yeah, getting erased basically.
They're like waka 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 waka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so bad.
Pac-Man
The,
the movie by Stephen
the-
King.
the thing, like, there were a few things in this. I'm not talking about the acting. I'm gonna write that off. That's a box. That's an in a box trope. The thing I really found very interesting, and I would have to say probably sad in a way, for me, is that I saw the encampment. I'm like, oh, that's like the Pacific, like the pyramids with the elevated floors and the raised sides. Like, yeah, because most of my exposure to the Pacific is through media and stuff. Because I don't do much reenact. Obviously, being on the East Coast, you can't really do that much Pacific theater reenacting, and there's not that much interest in it. And so seeing all that kind of stuff, like, unfortunately, I'm like, oh, that's like the Pacific. I'm like, oh, right, well, duh.
The Vuvu
But
set.
like, it just right, yeah. But I thought that was cool, you know. Because how many times have we seen the wrong thing? It looked like Southern California.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Could have been Camp Pendleton or something.
right.
It probably was Camp Pendleton, not too far away from where they shot Guadalcanal Diary. But as some of you know, I do have a pyramid fetish, and I love that opening shot. That was so nice to see all those pyramids and stuff. And yeah, it's 4 years after the fact. The pyramid is still, I think, the main squad tent. It's pre-fucking, oh God, what are they called? The ones
GP
you have
medium?
reenacted. Yes, yeah, it's pre all that, you know.
Yeah.
And what's cool, the one nerdy bit I saw is that, so they're all OD tents, but all of them have khaki flaps on the top for the wind flaps. It's like all of them. So it was interesting. They're all khaki topped. That was neat. And also, so the divisions are all fucked up. They allude to the fact that they're in the second division, but the second division didn't go to Iwo Jima. The second division was on Guadalcanal and Tarawa, and then they went to Saipan, Tinian, and then they did something in Okinawa, but they really didn't do anything in Okinawa. They did a diversionary operation. But so unless they all ended up in the the fourth or the fifth, there's no way they would have been on Iwo Jima. So I don't know. They all got transferred in Hawaii to another division, but I thought that was kind of funny.
You know, if we're gonna talk about some of the, I don't know, you call them inaccuracies or something like that. I have a quote. What were they using for those Amtraks? Because those were like
They're LVT.
They're
LVT4s.
They looked
They're
weird
correct.
to me. They didn't look like the standard.
Even the tanks looked wrong too.
The one tank I think is wrong, but I had to look it up to be sure. It's cool though. It's the flamethrower Sherman.
the
but
giant
it still has
thing
well,
on the side. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
still has a 75. The giant thing on the side is the flamethrower.
Right.
Because they learned during the war that you want to be able to use your 75 still. And they did some experiments where they used to turn the bow gun into a flamethrower. They did that on the Stuart. And then they had a lot of trouble where they couldn't get the pressure right and they would burn all the paint off the front of the tank and they'd set the tank on fire. Whoops. So they did this thing at the very tail end of the war, just after the war, where they would actually have its own flame thing in the turret and its own 75 as well. So you had both dualities. But no, the LVT4s were all correct. and they jump out of. They're not the LVT1s you see for Tarawa because they have that back doors, but they use them like ones. They're always jumping in and out of them. Before I forget, you commented on this earlier, Nate. So when they're at Tarawa and like they have like all the the Disneyland type of explosions and everything.
Yeah.
I noticed there was a lot of like lines that ran through the water for like bullets.
Pipes.
And when they have the scene where like the lieutenant's obviously comically shot and he's lying dead, like right in front of one of the tracks, you can see like there's 2 holes in a pipe, and like every few seconds
they're shooting air
Yeah,
through them. Yeah.
yeah,
It's compressed.
I know,
pipes
but
underwater and sand, but it works.
it looks great, but it was just funny because it was just like it was so rhythmic.
I'm looking for
It's
that. I'm studying that, but like someone in 1949 is going, whoa.
No, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's an ingenuitive way to achieve that effect.
Yeah.
But that's what you see in carnival rides, like in fucking like Universal Studios on the water rides, like.
Literally,
it's the same thing. I mean, it may not be the Iwo Jima ride, but or the Tarawa ride.
My name is John Wayne, and we're going to the top.
Are you ready to take Mount Suribachi?
Get on that 50, you little shit.
Yeah. Instead of
we're past the line of demarcation.
What is that at Disney? What's that giant mountain ride that's been there since like the 50s? I forgot what that's called.
A small world after
It's Mount Suribachi ride. Yeah, going up and down the mountain.
Japs come out with fucking katanas.
Right.
Here we are in the canal, kids.
Yeah.
What, a real war?
It's like it's an animatronic John Wayne says like, yeah, you want to see a real what world?
It's like Max Headroom.
Yeah. John Wayne's malfunction again. Well, hello there, little
After the first firefight, he's smoking. Goes, "Want a cigarette, kid?" And hands it to you.
I'm gonna have AI generate that John Wayne Iwo Jima carnival ride.
The John Wayne Disney ride. Okay, kids.
Brought to you by Marvel.
Hey,
riding in a fucking LVT. Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah.
Okay, Nancy, you're on the 50 cal.
Yeah.
Better not let those nips get us.
Your hearing damage is not Disney related.
Yeah. Instead of gators, they're Longlands torpedoes.
Sorry,
they're coming right at us.
Sorry, they're not nips. They're lemon-colored characters.
That was an interesting line. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, that's a new one.
I lost my mind on that. That made me laugh so hard.
Well, it's 5 years after, or 4 years after, whatever. The war, so you can't be totally offensive.
Well, I think that's worse than like
they're not
Japs
zips or slants or Japs. They're
Yeah, I heard that. I'm like, oh, that's a new
Brian,
one.
slow it down there, okay?
We did have a reenactment this year where we fucking did a Pacific event.
I know. I heard every name in the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, and then when they'd say that, and then I'd be like, the guy that you're capturing is white. What are you talking about?
No, it's just practical effects were good.
Yeah. Going back to that,
Yeah. I still can't get the fucking Tarawa Iwo Jima ride out of my mind.
It's pretty good.
That's
Be
pretty
an
good.
AI
yeah.
of that and post it on the Facebook page.
But no, I again like that was the only thing that I was actually kind of shocked by. We're used to the age of what was that movie? Oh, it was one we did with Dave Holland, black and white.
Guadalcanal Diary.
Guadalcanal
Diary.
They didn't have any
1943.
Arasakas or machine guns. They actually
They had Lewis guns and Thompsons.
They have a Type 99 and an Arasaka.
They do have real
Arasakas in there.
Japanese firearms in this film. Yeah.
Yeah, except
which
they
is-
fire at fucking 1,500 rounds per minute cyclic.
Well, all those little flashes is just a propane.
Yeah.
nozzle
I know
inside
what
the
it is,
bumper,
but it's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Jap machine guns. I did learn this year after facing one. Have an incredibly high rate of fire. Like
Not
fucking-
1,500 rounds.
but
per
not
minute.
that. I do
No,
agree with
not
Mike
that.
D,
But still,
yeah.
like, I don't know. It was until you hear it. It's I don't know. I was very surprised. So yes, that's totally wrong. It's too high. But in reality, like they have a crazy staccato that like is nothing like a Western battlefield, like a Western front battlefield in World War II.
Yeah, it's
It
a
just-
Type 99s. The Type 11s are fucking rat-a-tat-tat slow.
But like all of them, I don't know. It just very strange.
I have a question. If anyone saw it, maybe I should say it for IMFDB. But I saw 30 cals with like a nose. That
I
was
saw that
almost
too.
like,
Yeah.
30
almost
cal
like a-
military blank adapter.
Oh,
That's the
okay,
military
that makes
one.
sense. Yep.
I saw some Garand blanket adapters
I
too
saw
that
those
looked
too,
like the
yeah.
bad Hollywood
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
And then there was at least one guy with the AR who was like, "They're over there."
He was
Like,
just
yeah.
firing a semi-auto. Yeah. Which,
Yeah.
to be fair, he did say right before that I'm low on ammo, so maybe he was just
Yep.
conserving his rounds.
Well, there with the seawall, there's a guy that's actually charging it by his
Oh,
hand.
really? He's like bolt action
Yeah.
firing the BAR.
Yeah. This is the most amount of like carbine, or sorry, I should say, carbine. This is a carbine scene when they're climbing Iwo Jima. The lieutenant just like opens up with a carbine,
Yeah.
Hitting
and
the ground
then
in front
John
of him.
Wayne throws the grenade. Yeah,
There's a part on the hill where one of the Japanese extras comes out and stabs the guy, and then a guy comes up with a BAR and from like a foot away fires like 3 rounds into him. I was like, is that a blank into that guy? Like, Jesus Christ, that's dangerous.
Well, if you think about like Battlegrounds does a good job of what they're doing, but it's all done in a sound stage.
Mhm.
So like the gunplay it's acceptable, you know. But like this, I have not seen this many blank adapted rifles in the 40s in this movie than like anywhere else, because it's always Thompsons and MP40s and everything. But to see a BAR and a carbine and a Garand blank adapted and working is that's surprising.
Yeah.
There were
you
no
know?
Thompsons. I didn't see a single.
Yeah, I
no,
was about to
no,
say
that's-
that. I don't think
that's-
there were any Thompsons.
Well,
Yeah.
it's the Marine Corps. They don't have money for that shit, you know.
I was also gonna say, like, I know there were some flailing of arms and stuff like that,
Some.
but there was some. But just let me finish. I
guy that got hit in the face?
I saw some extras, not the actors, not the B grade extra actors, the extra like stunt guys in the back. There was one guy who did a dolphin dive into
off
like
the
a foot of
Amtrak.
water.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah,
I rewound
there was
that.
there were some really interesting hits in
Yep.
the backgrounds that were really
Some good
well done by
stuntmen,
stunt
yes.
guys.
Some good stuff. I hope they got paid.
But actors were like, I punched my last ticket.
Oh yeah, dude, they're the talent.
Like, yeah. Well,
No,
yeah,
you're right. There were, now that I'm thinking about it, like especially on the beach on Iwo Jima, if you look at it as they're advancing, there's
Even
a bunch of guys
Tarawa,
that just
too.
kind of do a little jump and just they just crumple.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
some really good Tarawa extras that took hits really well.
Mhm.
And that's surprising in 49.
Yeah.
Like in the propaganda films that we've seen during wartime, it's very much
Well, there's a
like-
pretty
like
decent
Diary-
chance that at least a
Guadalcanal
couple
Diaries was like-
of those extras were combat vets. There's a pretty
Right.
decent chance at that point.
Hey, are you ex-military? Do you need a job?
Yeah. Well, maybe
Like,
Be
you
it $10
know.
a day. Fucking
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
some of them might have been National Guard who were hired to do it. I mean, that happened a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So that could be.
Well, it was very impressive on that wide shot when John Wayne's like, "All right, everybody, get up and keep your distance," and it's just like they're gaggle fucked in like a giant thing.
Yeah.
but like that movement of people was really impressive on film camera. And I will say, the explosions of the palm trees in Tarawa when they're moving up. Like there's a guy who was crushed by a tree,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a fake tree. I don't know, but
Still would hurt
it-
like a motherfucker.
It still would hurt, even if it's covered in rubber with a wooden pole with a small beam inside.
Yeah.
It still fucking hurt. My point is like that stuff was very interesting to see. And again, like I said earlier, that's what really makes this bearable to watch and want to rewatch it for those
Well,
moments. I'm
oh,
not.
jeez, yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
didn't see
I'm
that.
not
I know
looking
it's
for-
good. I know this
I'm
is
not
hard,
looking
Nate, to
for-
edit, but I think it's gonna help. I didn't
It's
notice the
fine.
palm tree.
I'll try to incorporate it in there. The
in
thing
front of
is,
the truck too.
the thing is, it's
Amtrak.
like I'm not watching this for John Wayne. I'm not watching this for historical craziness. It's like I'm watching it because it's a post-war war film.
I also do
And I
like how
think
when
that
they're on
does
the, when
have
they're
a
on
lot
the
of thing
beach,
to
they
do
have the
with that.
tan side out. That's a nice little detail, even for the
that
time.
was cool.
Yeah.
So
That's funny. Like, you know, it's great though when this is some of the stuff that I do yearn for when I like watch war movies. Is I love some of these old battle scenes where you can just tell it's like 7 million extras and they have like 20 million squibs and effects going off in the background. You know
Yeah.
that they just held this camera there for like 10 minutes straight.
That guy. There
Yeah,
he
he
is.
just
Here's
does
the
the-
dolphin
just-
dive.
oh, go back,
Yeah.
go back a little bit, Brian. I guess I missed that the first time.
Well, yeah, he just goes, whoop, and you see him, he flips over, then he's on his back once he's laying in the water. Boom.
Oh shit!
Look, it's not that deep either. Look,
Not even like a foot deep.
Yeah, did a flip.
Fuck.
What he does is he lands on his back shoulders and he
Yeah,
flops.
yeah.
But it's very. I might be able to sneak this past YouTube.
Son of a bitch
who
is
knows?
tough and full Marine get up and everything.
Yeah. There's some very interesting hits and stuff during the Tarawa stuff.
What's
but
funny
it's-
though,
it's cool.
like from a Tarawa impression like perspective, these kits are great. Like they're missing P-42s, but like if any of these guys were reenactors and went to a terror event, they'd be like perfect Stitch Nazi guys. It's funny, like again because it's 49. There was one guy wearing a P-44 tunic, one of the flamethrower dudes, but whatever. But it's just funny, you know, when you make it so close to the events, it's very hard. I mean, well, what am I saying? But it's if you really try, it's very hard to not get it.
Yeah.
So-
I forgot about those trees falling over like that. I hope that was meant to happen because if it wasn't, then it probably injured numerous people. But if it wasn't, they were like, we're not leaving that out of the movie. We're putting that crap in
Yeah.
there.
And this just makes me want to keep working on my terror movie.
Yeah. It did look like that. I mean, they did a pretty good job with that set.
You know, yeah, they really tried. You could see that they, you know, watched a lot of original footage.
Mhm.
And what I noticed too is interesting was how nice the stocks and the Garands are. These rifles would have had to come out of storage or something because, like, if you look at some of the close-up shots from John Wayne or when the other guys are talking, the wood is immaculate. Like
That's funny.
Immaculate.
That's funny. This is cut down from the one I just watched on Pluto. There are
Oh.
longer shots, or maybe the film's just better resed, and I can actually see through that smoke. There was
Yeah.
a lot more in that shot going on the res. One, on the high res.
I thought, before I forget, I thought about this too. The scene where the fucking flamethrower guy gets hit and goes down the hill. Oh my god!
Yeah,
fucking
that would hurt.
back surgery in 10
Yeah,
years, dude.
that
Oh
that
my fucking
tank on his back.
god!
Hopefully, it was empty by
There's
that
no
time.
such. Yeah, it doesn't
Oh.
matter. What does it matter? It fucking
Oh, I know.
steel cage on your back. Go fall on.
Well,
it
maybe
3 times.
here's the thing. I think the parts where he's actually using the flamethrower, I bet that was an actual military guy that they got to do that because you can tell it's real.
hell
I mean,
yeah.
you can tell it's a real one.
No, it's a real person and it's a real metal chunk
But
of
like,
steel on
but
someone's back.
what I was gonna say was, I wouldn't for that shot right there. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a rubber one out and have the stunt man fall down the hill because he's not using
See,
it
they-
at that point.
They didn't
that looks
make
pretty damn
rubber
rigid, though.
duckling training aids for flamethrower. That's a real flamethrower.
I mean, I don't know what they did back then for that. Maybe that is an actual thing, but he's not actually shooting it in the part where he falls down. So who knows?
No, but I do agree with Brian. It may not. I mean, I agree with both of you in a way.
I'm just speculating. I'm
think-
not saying that's what
I
happened.
think that is a backbreaker of a fucking.
Yeah. Hey man, those stunt guys, you know, they'll do insane things.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
I watched. Again, I'll call back to one of my childhood things. I used to watch Zorro from 1953. Those stunt guys did not get paid very much, and they got fucked.
Yep,
up.
and that's why.
There's some incredible shots just for a Disney TV show.
That's why, like,
like,
oh man, that's why anytime you go like and see footage from like the 1980s of old stuntmen from the industry in their like 70s, they look like they're about to just fall into pieces. You know.
right.
Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
Well, I was watching Sergeant Birch's exploits on Cape Gloucester.
Mhm.
I remember when he took out those nip bunkers. But what
I
do you
was
call
sleeping
it?
during all this shit.
I don't know, man. Fucking, I'll have to read your citation for your Bronze Star.
He just
sometime.
blocked it out
What
of
do
his
you call it?
mind.
Yeah, well, he saw too much action, you know. But I totally lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Say. No worries.
That flamethrower stuntman.
That was John Wayne diving down the hill. I mean, I don't
That
know
was
about
totally
you.
not John Wayne.
That was a fucking pudge roll if I've ever seen one.
It's not even John Wayne during the fist fight scene. If you notice that, like, there's shots where it's a stuntman with black
Oh,
hair
really?
during the fist fight scene. Yeah, that he has
Oh.
with the guy. I was like, oh my god, really?
You want a fisticuffs?
Just want to say I hate your guts.
What do you say, partner? Like I just like he even walks like this. Like when he's walking like down like the thing, like what do you say? Do your left and right dance.
What's
movement,
interesting
you
is
know,
that
like
they even
that's stock
try to
footage.
recreate the air filters on the original bunker that are T-shaped.
Mhm.
On the fucking prop bunker, they're T-shaped. So again, they really did try.
Well, if you look at the stock footage they're intercutting with, they have like those ladders and stuff like that. I think that's what they're trying to emulate.
Oh yeah,
that specific
literally.
spot.
Yep. It's all an emulation of the Bunnyman footage from with the Marines of
Jesus.
Tarawa.
I think Tarawa is a whole lot. This is just me saying this now, though. It's like I think Tarawa in this film this should be called the Sands of Tarawa, not
That's
the
what
Sands
I
of Iwo
said.
Jima. I understand why, and this was something, and I know you said earlier. I was going to say it in the beginning. In this sense, was what's more known, and Brian's hit on it as well. It's like what's more known, Iwo Jima or Tarawa? Duh.
Yeah.
Like we're going to make it the Sands of Iwo Jima. And the thing is like this could be a standalone movie, and I think it should have been for Tarawa. Personally,
Cut out that entire first act. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
and I know you said that, Mike A. I'm not taking
I
that
know.
away from you. I was also of the same mindset as well. I didn't say it fast enough.
It's all good.
It's a
Yeah.
it's a tragedy. That's all we have for a Tarawa movie. You know, it's well done for what it is. Don't get me wrong, but like that's it. That and the movie from the '60s that steals that part and then has a name with Tarawa in it. But yeah, the Iwo Jima sections or whatever. But the best part about this film is the Tarawa.
Don't worry,
sections.
Brian. I'm real fucking happy right now.
Nice timing.
Thanks.
Who shot him? It was that someone in a spider hole.
That squared off sand spider hole about 10 feet away.
Was it just me, or were all the BAR gunners in this film a bunch of fucking dipshits that kept leaving their fucking weapon and like, oh, I got some out of ammo. I didn't realize that.
Well, no, that's because that guy's Greek. No.
Oh.
No.
Hey, whoa. Slow your roll, Irishman. All right.
Nate, I know you too well. That's a good thing to do. So. Oh, I put too many gyros in this pouch. I will say this though, while we're on the BAR topic, the BAR is a great fucking like the nice, World War I flash hider, like what you should see for Marines and during World War
That
II.
is a really big Hollywood blank adapter. Or
Oh, fuck
I thought that was an M14 when I saw it.
It's the World War I
Wow.
style flash hider that's been blanket adapted.
Okay.
that is really long.
The World War I had long boy. That's what they used when they didn't have the bipod.
Mm.
It's just a really long boy.
I'm sorry, but like I can't get over. So I was getting vibes of Stalag 17 when it came to like some of these characters. Like
I was
Yep.
waiting
Yeah.
for you
I'm
to
just like-
comment on that. I was waiting. I was gonna say it, but I was waiting for you to be like, well, hey man, how about the little don't hurt those precious little fish
right,
there.
I'm just like
All
shut
right, for the
up. Like
boxing.
the quote comedic relief of the film. It's just he's just annoying.
Eh,
Yeah.
Whenever I share the original posters or like trailers for that film, and it's like always a comedic, bombastic film, everyone's like, "Fuck you, Stalag 17 is not a comedy."
Yes, it is.
I'm like, well then, look at the original fucking like funding. It's like,
we had so many people say that.
Really?
So many. Brian and I were like,
Did they think we were talking about another movie?
no.
no, they're like, it's not a comedy, it's serious. And
No,
it's
it
like,
isn't.
dude, look at the marketing. Look at what it was.
There's
you
a
know?
part where a guy gets gets hypnoptized to think his friend is a fucking like hot woman.
Betty Grable.
Yeah.
like
Betty Guable.
Betty Guable. But
say it probably will be better than all of the POW sequences in the Mighty Eighth that's coming out or Masters of the Air. But we'll have to see.
see about that.
Michael.
You don't have high hopes, Nate?
I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
Red Tails in England.
I don't know. This is a fucking. We're not going
Wait,
there.
you don't know?
No, we'll see in the future. But
I'm gonna slap you. From
one thing
here.
that was with like the comic relief guy in this movie was strange though, because he kept like saying like homoerotic things. It's like his first scene, he's like, look at this handsome guy right here, he's gonna be a movie star. And then later on he's like, oh, you guys got your shirts off, ooh la la. It's like, what?
You guys got any crayons?
Yeah, it's like, what is happening here?
Yeah, people from New York do sound like they're fucking retarded. Like ever since whoever said that and brought that up, I'm like, oh my god, that's every time I hear somebody from New York, yeah, I'm from New York. I'm like, oh, you're retarded.
It's because you talk like a toddler. Why else would you talk like
right,
that?
yeah, you got the pusher pusher voice.
The
Yeah, Brian, why are you
I'm the
doing it? I don't know what you're doing.
I didn't know.
You
I
suck
don't
on a fucking
know.
pacifier until you were 10? What the fuck is wrong with your fucking vocal development? Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And Michael, I'm still waiting for you to take the flag off your wall and tell me how to fold it right. Because I didn't
You didn't get it the first
times
three
you did that.
times.
No, I want you to learn me again.
I thought
how
that
to fold
I
a
was like,
flag.
oh, just fucking jerking off America's dick right here. Oh my god.
Cup in the balls.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is how you fold a flag. I'm gonna raise it in Tokyo.
I was just gonna fucking say that.
Yeah.
That was really well done.
You're gonna die. That's what when you see something like that.
God.
I need a button with that. With Michael saying that. You're gonna die. You're gonna die.
I was waiting for the what's his name? Crowley? No, not Crowley. Fuck. I said in the beginning of the goddamn episode. The guy who was like trying to the kid.
Which
of the guy
forgettable
who tried to
character?
tell
Let's
them
see.
Conway?
The Conway. thank
Conway.
you. Yeah. Like I was like the little
The
boy-
kid of the
did
guy of the son of the person.
Well, did you listen to the little voice? No, and I was like, sniper in the
Yep.
face, sniper in the face, die right now. And then, but it was John, so it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I wish I could meet some American speaking broad all the way in bumfuck New Zealand. Marry her after 2 days.
that.
That's what I was like, shouldn't these guys have accents? Or these ladies, I mean? Yeah.
I forgot.
And then
about
knock
that.
her up on the first couple like rounds,
Right.
and then just I'm a father.
I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh,
I was
dude,
like,
it was one of
why
the-
is no one sounding like they beat a kangaroo on the evenings? Like I just,
That was nice though. You never hear about that because the first and the second were in New Zealand. The first was there for like 5 weeks and fucked off to Guadalcanal. But the second was there for a very long period of time. There were 2 regiments that were there for like over a year, and then they go to Hawaii after that. So it was nice to see New Zealand, but totally wrong. And New Zealanders have very, very, very distinctive accents, more so than Australians. And let's finish it with this. The war was going on. There's so many people were not home because they were fighting the war. When the 1st Marine Division went to Australia, they found that there was a lot more women than men. And that was a very, good thing to be when you were an 18-year-old Marine in another country. But New Zealand was like tenfold because it's such a small country. So like not only were there like no men, like these women were way hornier than Australians. So it's just kind of funny, like, guys always would score in New Zealand. It was very hard not to score in New Zealand. You always hear about like the crazy sex, craved Commonwealth public, but like, no. New Zealand was like really fucking horny. So it's something funny. It comes up in memoirs.
I was gonna say, and I'll just say this: if you're gonna have women in Australia or New Zealand, at least make them sound like Dave. Because it'll be that combo of American and Australian, and no one knows or Alabaman and Australian, and no one will know what it is until you're halfway through a pod with him, and you go, "Oh, that's why my brain's confused."
Australian.
Oh my god, dude! I love his accent, but it confused me for like the first hour because I was late that day. It was like, oh my god,
We gotta have Dave back on.
are you Southern or are you Australian? I can't picture it yet. Should we jump into IMFDB?
Yeah.
I think we've exhausted a 1949 movie pretty well so far.
Good recall though about all the extras and stuff. I totally forgot about
Yeah, they
that.
deserve some acknowledgement.
Yeah, the guy that like can't see colors anymore because they're hit with a fucking palm tree.
Can't see colors anymore. R.I.P. to that guy's.
John Wayne. Is this me?
Thanks. I just want to see purple again.
What is it? What was that freaking epic war film from like the late 50s done by Stanley Kubrick? I'm not talking. It's like Rome or something like that.
Paths of
No.
Glory?
It's like a Rome.
No.
It's like a Roman like kind of thing. It's like a Roman. I
Spartacus?
think so. Yeah, but there's a part where there's a part in it where it's one of those things where
you weren't on that episode.
That's I was like, we just did
Yeah.
Spartacus.
Sorry, I wasn't
we
on
did
that one. But
Spartacus,
if I'm thinking about the
I
right
am
thing, there's a
Spartacus.
scene in it where it's one of those battlefields. It's one of those battles where you have like 2 billion extras, and there's a part where these guys are dragging this big log that's on fire and
Yeah.
and it jumps and it lands on one of the extras, and like rolls over him, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I hope that guy is okay.
Remember, we talked about that with Sean, and Sean was like, "Why?
Why do they have?
Why
that?
does every movie need fucking flaming rolling things? Like,
Yeah.
no, this is
That's
no,
that's
this is
a
stupid.
movie thing.
That was a great battle. Besides that, that's a very well shot battle. And
Killed by a
very
Giant
Kubrick,
flaming hot dog.
right? So I'd rather be killed on a Kubrick set than killed on a Wayne set. I found some great posters for this. I found a great Japanese poster. Actually.
Dude, the Japanese posters you pull out for the older
I've noticed
movies,
that you do that.
I wish I could put them out there, like as a cover art, but there's no English on them, so it's like it's harder to.
No,
do.
sometimes they do.
Yeah.
Most of the time they say it in English, like in the corner.
It's
Like,
normally
you know.
the 1960s, 1970s ones that you pull out that make
Yeah.
me laugh. Like the one for
Oh, there's some great 60s
the one for
ones.
this one was great.
Yeah, the
It's
Japanese one
great.
for this
I
one
just
is
found
awesome.
one I quite
This
liked.
sucks. This one blows. This
Yep.
is awful. But the Japanese
Foreign
one's like
posters
amazing.
are always better. Yeah.
You know?
Sands of John.
Jesus carried an MP40 with a BAR belt.
know.
Fucking Christ.
Oh my god, that's great.
Wait,
I
what?
found one that's funny. Shared it in the Scuttlebutt chat.
Okay, let me take a look.
It's funny.
Scuttlebutt has
looks
it.
like it was-
It was funny to hear that so many times in this
Oh
as
my
well.
god.
Looks like it was done with colored pencil.
We should find the most bombastic poster to post with this.
Do you want me to use that one? I'll use
Use
that
Wayne.
one.
Yeah.
Find the craziest one you
John
can
Wayne's
find.
leathery,
Yeah.
wrinkled face. Looks like an old catcher's mitt.
All right.
IMFDB. So December
IMFDB.
14th, 1949. Wow. Christmas.
Gotta have these.
Okay.
What's this gun?
No idea. It's a Browning High Power, I think. So.
I thought it was a
Yeah.
TT-33.
Yeah.
That-
1911.
that's-
TT-33.
It's a
For audio podcast, 1911.
Star Model B.
one.
Well, click on that
Those
photo.
were not A3s.
Jeremy.
Those were O3s.
Jeremy.
Let's click on what?
Quick, I just wanna
Also,
see the
really
mortar
quick,
position again.
that cooking in a helmet bullshit.
Mhm.
Never mind. I don't want to waste time on that. Let's just go down.
What am I clicking on, Brian?
I just wanted to see the Mortarman position again quickly.
Well, there's a better picture of it down
Oh, okay, so
down below, yeah. So Mike says it's not an A3, which I agree. Yeah.
the only way to tell in that photo is if it has a stamped floor plate, but there's no way to tell. Yeah, you can't tell.
Yeah. M1 Grands.
I li-
No
I
idea
like
what
how on
that is.
IMFDB for some reason they always have to like put a separate photo for the one with the bayonet on it. I don't know why they do that.
Well, so
Um,
you see all the khaki topped?
Mhm.
I was gonna ask
Oh yeah, on
you,
the tents.
Brian, what are the are those the top like the canvas khaki tops,
Yeah.
or are they actually like a hard structure? Because that looks like a hard structure to me.
I mean, I did think about that too, because sometimes when they have those long encampments, because these things they're tents, but they're permanent, you know?
Right. Yeah.
They have floors and everything. You do see things like that. This is being Camp Pendleton. It's hard to say. I mean, you see things
feel-
like that in Korea. It could be
Right.
plywood. It's
Yeah.
very, very possible.
Because I mean, I the only reason why I think it's not
This is straight on
that-
the bottom for all of them.
well, because like if you look at, I'll zoom in here. If you look at this one, see how these are very sharp angles all the way through. There's no
Yeah.
variations. This one right here makes me think it's pulled taut. There's a line here,
Mhm.
so maybe it's just really well pulled taut. But I don't know. I feel like if they were solid plywood tops, you wouldn't be able to open up the tops because that's the whole point of having the canvas
Yeah.
tops is to open up for ventilation. If you have a plywood,
It
top,
works
you
really
can't-
well.
You can't open anything. Yeah, no, it saved our ass in combat camera.
I'm just thinking to myself, that's what? It's probably 16 to 20 tents. Today, that's $3,000 a tent if you're lucky.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Of course, in a movie like this, there's going to be a million shots.
Oh,
of
that's
this thing.
right. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
like that Mongoloid dude who just plowed the M1 Garand all the way through and pulled it through the dummy like a spear.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun.
I love that. It's just like I have big strength.
Mongo stab.
Yeah. Oh,
Blazing Saddles.
Oh,
where
really?
the white women at?
Yep, the M1 carbine.
carbines. Radio's cool.
SCR 300. Yeah.
Now, is that Ira? That looks like Ira Hayes.
Yeah,
yeah, it's
that's
Mike Strank in the center.
that's three
Or
of
not
them.
Mike. I keep saying Mike Strank.
It says it right below the fucking
Yeah.
in the caption.
John.
Derp.
What's his name?
Renee
Yeah,
Gagin,
Renee Gagin.
and then John
Yeah,
Bradley.
John Bradley.
Gagin's on the left. I think,
Yep.
right? Because he looks really strange.
The Ariska.
99.
So
I
that's what
hate
people
you.
call it. I've heard that so many
I
fucking
hate
Say
you.
what?
Ariska?
Ariska?
The Ariska. Yeah.
Okay.
You're missing an A.
Yeah.
I know.
It's funny that the Japanese helmets, at least that one has a anchor on it. So at least
It
they
has
do
an
that.
anchor on it, but these look like M1 helmets with just
They're
like,
a little
smooth
yeah.
everything.
Covered in
They're definitely not Jap
covered
helmets.
in lacquer.
They don't look like M1. The one on the left, well, the one on the left looks like an M1, absolutely, with the
Yeah.
rim. But
They-
the other ones are like the civil defense helmet things. They're because those flared out like that at the bottom. They had a bunch of them.
They have a pretty extreme flare though.
What do you mean? No,
The
I was
civil
saying that they had a
defense
bunch of
ones.
different models. If you look, the amount of civil defense helmets, those look like post-war civil defense helmets too.
That's what I was gonna say. They don't look.
But
They
the
look like
Japanese
Korea.
were so fucking weird with their civil defense helmet. There were so many different styles, liners, etc., like configurations. It is insane. But yeah, those are definitely not Type 90s. I guarantee
Yeah.
fucking to you.
The Japs that were on Tarawa, there was an SNLF unit. And there was 100 aviators who they lost their planes, and there was about 100 Japanese seamen that were there. And you find a lot of photos. They're still wearing their white khakis, and when they were killed.
So that's made to look like it's got a dent on it. What the
It looks
fuck?
almost like a tie helmet, or
No.
oh, dude, it could be a civil defense helmet with the rim cut off. That's what it reminds me of. Like
Yeah,
you know
they're
those
just
white
fucking-
CD helmets.
No, the top's not the right shape.
Just how big the dome is, or it's homemade. I mean,
I was literally just going to suggest that it's some
Mm-hmm.
fucking weird. It looks like a fucking mixing bowl. I'm not shitting you.
yeah, like when they turned the FJ helmets in the colanders and shit after the
Well,
war.
the Japanese
Yeah.
have a total screen time of 2 minutes in this movie, so they're like, who cares? You know?
Yeah.
I read an interesting review where they said that Japanese in the American mind are like sneaky or deceptive until Tor comes out in 1970.
Mm.
So like you get the roles where it's like this, and then you have Tor come out. You see both sides. Hell, the Pacific kind of like does that, but not really.
Mm.
The
BAI.
BAI.
That one looks shorter, but
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. You take off all the accessories, so it looks more like a rifle than it does a BAR. That's what a BAR muzzle looks like, with just no sight
Right.
protector or nothing on it. And this is the earlier style.
And no bipod
Yeah,
mount flash hider thing.
the BAR, the Marine Corps BARs are very strange during the war. They don't get like standard A2s until Peleliu or later. Most of the BARs they have are like Navy BARs that have been like cobbled together, so they have these crazy like variations. And each campaign is different. Like the Guadalcanal BAR is a little different than the Cape Gloucester BAR, or the Bougainville VAR and stuff. So you see a crazy amalgamation of like World War I handguards and World War II lowers and things like that. And it's not till very later on, but these BARs are very correct for what a Marine BAR could have been or would have been in 1942, 43. Just a mix of random shit. I love those early flash hiders, the long ones. That's the World War I style.
Yeah, that's the conical BFA. Yep.
Yeah, that was for the 1919. Yeah, that whole cone.
And the M1's got a
Cone
BFA
aperture.
on it too.
Yeah,
big
I'm
ass
so
thing.
shocked.
that's not terrible though.
No.
I'm shocked you'd never seen one, Nate. Because
no,
I
'cause
see them a lot in the hobby. This
Well, it's
cone-
funny. I actually have never seen the cone ones. I've always ever seen the ones over the last 15 years because we didn't really have that many 30s within my unit until about I think maybe 5 to 10 years ago, we started getting a whole bunch because we had a bunch of surplus that came in to the States at that point. And at that point, Riverna Armory was making the integral screw-on BFA caps
These
that
are the
you can put in
style-
within the housing. So
Yeah, they fit into the interior.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Point, 798 or 9, whatever it
yeah,
is.
yeah, for the 308s.
But this is the style that works, if I'm not mistaken, with the 1909 wax blank. And this is the one that you're supposed to use. But I remember
Okay.
seeing them a lot in the hobby when I started, like the late aughts.
I might have seen them in the late aughts, but my memory doesn't go back that far to something I didn't own or use. So like, I just don't. We didn't have that many at that point. I think
Well,
we didn't have a 30 in my
Do you-
unit until I think the mid to early teens.
do you remember the ray gun BFAs or carbines?
Yeah, because I still fucking see them. They are awful.
But
They
the really
are.
bad Swedish ones that were like
The
huge.
the ones that are orange, and they look like a fucking
Well, there's like one that's silver that
G41
looks like an
dildo
actual
on the end
ray
of it.
gun. Yeah.
yes.
But this
Yeah.
and that were both very common, like around the same time.
I
of
saw
reenacting.
when I started reenacting in 07, 08, I saw them,
Yeah.
and then events were really clamping down on that,
Mhm.
and they said no more of the dildo carbine blank
Yeah.
blank adapters. Now everyone makes it so their M1 carbines only blank only, and they internally tap the barrel.
Yeah.
Which I don't do enough of a roll for me to have to tap my carbine. There's no reason.
Yeah.
So
I'm not gonna ruin something.
yeah,
It's
no.
like
I'd
stupid.
rather go to the range. I go to the range more with my carbine than actually take my carbine out of an event. So I'm
But-
good.
That's what that is. 1919.
Yeah. Oh, I've never seen Mike B. I don't know what this one is. Can you tell me what this one is?
He actually goes to
Is that
It's a howitzer, right?
I-
They're really powerful.
Is that an MG42? It was
I
buzzsaw?
think it is. It looks like an MG42
Might be a
on
34.
Tarawa. That's so weird.
Well, yeah, it's at the holes in it. It's the 34. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's a Dishka. It's a Dishka. Sorry.
I don't know. That's not a disco.
That looks
I know
like
what
a
a disco is. That's not
Mike
one.
B, I'm sorry I pulled you out what you're looking up for that. that was worth it.
Oh no, it's totally fine. I knew what you were doing, and that's why I played into it. Yeah, it's fucking-
Thank you. It's a Browning M2, everybody. It's okay. Everyone, don't worry. It's a Browning M2.
See,
It's not in
everybody's
every
like-
single movie. that we
Everybody's
ever
like,
done.
John Moses Browning gave us the 1911. No, penis. He gave us
No.
the fucking M2 heavy barrel.
Yeah,
That's what he fucking gave us.
yeah.
The 1911's
Yeah.
an inadequate piece of shit. That fucking thing is still in service all around the world and will be for years.
Yeah.
So go fuck yourself, 1911 fanboys. End of fucking rant.
John Browning's MG34 will always live on.
Yep.
Such a good gun.
I really liked seeing an actual Type 96 in this. That was really cool. Because
Was
at
it a
that
96
point,
or a 99?
I think it's a 99, but I don't know
The-
my Jap machine guns very well. Like I
The
do my
difference is
German,
the caliber. So
Is that really the only difference? I thought
Yeah.
it was also
Yeah,
the feeding
6.5
mechanism.
versus 99.
No, it's
Or
pretty. They
7.7.
had. No, they had that, and then they had the fucking what's
the
it called?
hopper one.
The
Type
yeah, it's-
11's the hopper fed one, and the Type 96 is the 6.5 top fed magazine, and the Type 99 is the 7.7 top fed one. The 96 and 99 are same gun minus caliber, and the Type 11 is the left hand hopper feed gun. That's really awesome. I wish I
Didn't
owned.
Is that the same hopper fed one that had the like almost it shoots like
Stripper
the,
clips,
The,
yeah.
No. Well, yes, I know that where they had the little hopper and you
I
would
love how
take-
that thing
you would
works.
put it in stripper clips and you
So-
put that in. It malfunctioned like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But the one I'm thinking of is
It's remember from Call or
what
Medal of Honor.
what like the Beretta 37 uses those long sticks.
Oh,
Did
the
they use
feed
those?
strips.
Yeah.
Type
the-
92 heavy machine
yeah.
gun.
Thank you. Okay, I knew
woodpecker.
that. I knew they used a straight out tray.
Well,
one.
no, the Britta's not a Hotchkiss strip. It's a fucking like I have one somewhere. It's a
feed
it's
strip,
a
yeah.
fucking it's an half enclosed like I don't even know what the fuck they call it, like a chart. But it's got a handle on it, and then you can you ram the son of a bitch in, and it's weird. But it's a piece of shit machine gun.
But they I'm not wrong, right? They had like a Hotchkiss like feeding
A Type 92
like a
is-
like a Beretta 37.
A Type 92 is directly based off of Hotchkiss, so yes. Yep.
Okay, I just
like
wanted to
an
make
M37
sure-
Beretta that Mike was saying.
I just wanted to make sure that in my head that the Japanese had a tray fed
Yes, they did. The
sideways.
Type
Okay.
92 Woodpecker.
Yeah, and I
It's a
misspoke
three-man
earlier when I
crew.
said the Type 11. I meant the Type 92 because that one has a really slow rate of fire compared to the 96.
Right. Yeah, because I remembered it was like like exactly like a woodpecker.
I think the 96 has a higher rate of fire because it's 6.5, and because the way the action is on a 7.7, or the Type 99, it's a bit lower. But I didn't realize there was a difference only in caliber until like 6 months ago when I did research for Combat Camera. But I love the hopper fed ones; they're so cool.
Here, I'm gonna copy this and throw this in Scuttlebutt for Nate. This is the thing I'm talking about, and this was for the Breda model fucking.
Oh yeah, I've seen those around. Yeah,
And-
yeah.
You like flip open a little magwell on the side
Yes.
of the gun, and then you force that in there and you take it out, and like it's like
Oh,
a big
I've seen those
charger
things.
in a way.
Yeah, but
And
it's
then
it's
you flip the
fucking-
magazine onto it.
It's 20 rounds, and then it's just like
They also had another machine gun that was strip fed, the Italians, and they also had a 37 millimeter that was strip fed as
yeah.
well.
The other one that was strip fit was a Breda. It was more of a Hotchkiss design.
Yeah, it was a heavy.
That
That's
was the
one I'm
M37.
remembering. Yeah,
The
yeah, that's
M37 is the
37.
Hotchkiss.
Yeah.
The Breda, I can't fucking find the model of it. Anyway, but yeah,
Italian
that's
machine guns are fucking weird.
very. Oh, it's the Breda 30. That's the one.
Jap
Oh yeah, that is the one, yeah, yep.
1920s and 1930s machine guns are very weird. You know, again, we only see the ones that were the most. Or what I'm saying, we only see the ones that were made the best because they're used everywhere. Thompsons and MP40s and that kind of shit. The crazy shit that was experimental that got a country from like a Maxim to a Bren, people forget because they were used and they didn't make a lot of them and they fucking suck shit. So who cares? You know, so there's so many things that were used, like these, you know, Bredas and clip-fed firearms that were very prevalent during the war. But we look back on it because of the way that media works and stuff. All we see is the cool machine guns that are reliable, you know? So there's so much that's lost. Like a MAC-31.
Madsen. Sorry, I had a tick.
I know it.
Madsen.
Yeah, but that's an
Or
old
a-
fucking design.
1902, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it, Michael? A 1923 de Havilland anti-aircraft
Oh,
machine gun?
darn.
Yeah.
Darn,
Darn,
yeah,
yeah.
darn.
Oh, that thing you guys found out like, a few weeks ago.
M1923,
Darn.
yeah, darn machine gun.
Yeah, the Madsen's a 1902 design originally, and then it went through small variations, but the design never changed.
Everybody
And even
fucking used them.
the last iteration of the Madsen's still being used in Brazil. So
Favela.
huh?
Yeah, favela, you know. Do you have a really bad drug gang in like a slum?
Now everyone knows that because Ian's giving away another one, so it's like everyone knows.
I've
that
got a
now, but-
Danish machine gun for you.
Yeah. No, I one day get mine done in semi. One day we'll get it done.
Nate, why do you have
Um,
tickets to Brazil?
No reason whatsoever.
Oh, the Mark II A1.
I can put that in my mouth.
The wrong color though. For
Great
Taylor.
phrase
It
to
should
use
be
there,
yellow.
Nate. It fit one of those bad boys right in my mouth.
I can put a whole one in my mouth.
That's a sportsman's guide photo.
Yeah, that's also a British pouch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sure is.
They used the right pouch though in the film. That was a
satchel charge for audio people. I have to make sure.
Nate
you-
probably knows this because he's seen more demo stuff than I have with his D-Day things, but I'm
What's
pretty
up?
sure that's a correct demo charge in the movie
Yes, it is.
because they
Yep.
have the different color banding. on
That
the bags
picture
I've
is
seen.
that picture's not, but that
Oh, yeah.
that's correct.
And
yes.
even the fuses are right too. The way they're
Yeah, I
teed
did
and
like that.
everything.
I thought it was ballsy to rip two off at each time.
Yeah, he's like
but,
ripped
you know.
four
Well,
of them
it
off.
takes
on
like
his-
Right,
forever
right.
to do it. He's like,
It's only one in real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
There's
it's
only
like,
one
dude,
charge.
that thing's about to explode. What are you doing?
Well,
Well,
I
even
am
Conway's
glad-
like, throw it.
Yeah, I like how they went to the actor was like, get rid
Yeah,
of
because
it.
John Wayne's moving is half the speed of smell.
Too
John
many
Wayne, like, this
seconds today.
this prop isn't really gonna blow up. What do I have to hurry for?
I need a Marlboro. Morty. M2.
Very cool because it was a real one.
with the P44.
There was
top.
there was an M2. There was a demilled M2 on an auction the other week, and I really thought about
You wanted to buy that?
why though, because it's demilled.
Yeah,
so
just,
I
you know,
really
a
want
big
one.
chunk of metal.
it sold for like $2,000. So
Nathan, next time you find one, send it to me. I really want one.
okay,
'Cause
I'll
this
be on the
looks really
lookout.
cool.
It came. I've two of them come up this year. So
Think
I'll
about
write.
it. This guy,
Now that I know that, I'll send that to you.
this guy joins the Marines. He goes to be in a movie. He falls down a hill with a flamethrower. He destroys his back. It's on film, and they probably told him that his back injuries weren't related to his service. So
Service to Hollywood. Yeah.
M2 mortar. This
60
is
mil.
the picture
I
was
love all the
talking about.
pinups they got on the right there.
it's an interesting position, and it's cool because there actually were Shermans on Tarawa.
Within an hour,
Sounds
I
correct.
already set up my jerk off pad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you brought a folder. Well, there's a part when the Amtrak is going and you see the driver and he has like 20 pinup photos in
But
front
see,
of him.
that's more believable though.
It is, yeah, but I just think it's a funny detail. I was like, oh, that's funny.
There's that famous photo of the guys going in and looking at the pinup in the Amtrak.
Yeah, we looked at that
Some
photo
island.
on Friday Night Shite not too long ago.
Cool. Yeah, and it's like, that's probably where they stole that from and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like the comments in this too, because you get a lot of animosity, in memoirs or during the war and stuff. Like I have a memoir from a guy who was in K35, the same unit that Eugene Sledge was in, where every chance he gets, he's like, "You're not like one of those fucking Boilermen, like fucking one of those guys." Like every other paragraph, for like 300 pages.
Well, it is funny in the series, The Pacific, which part of Eugene Sledge's memoir is based on. They do have a character in there that kind of shit talks the Marines the Mortarmen a few times.
Yeah.
Bill Layden, where he's like, you guys don't actually see the real combat and stuff like that. So, yeah.
It's funny, and then even in this, you guys are you really lived the life of Riley back here. The guy gives him the look,
Have either one of you read R.V. Bergen's book?
Yeah.
No, I
It's
haven't.
really good. You should read that one.
really?
Yeah, he does a really
Islands of the Damned.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
Better than With the Old Breed?
I personally think
Just about
so.
as good.
I personally think so. Not that I'm taking away from the old breed, but it's a less common
He was on
book to
Cape
travel.
Gloucester.
Yeah, it's really
So,
good. I really liked
yeah.
it. It's one of the few memoirs of the fucking 40 books I need to finish reading. Now that I got my glasses, finally, fucking read.
You old
Yeah.
man.
I'm not gonna change. You're still not gonna.
Watch me.
Yeah, I unfortunately I won't.
M4A3 Sherman.
I like how Sherman's in quotes.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not an M4A3. That's a much later Sherman. Because it's got the.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
suspension
not
on
the
it.
traditional
Oh.
Sherman shape.
No, it's Sherman shape.
Hey,
Let's talk
I'm
about the
I'm
Sherman
not an
shape.
armor nerd. I mean,
I can tell.
Aren't-
It's a tiger.
it's everything's a tiger. All right.
Put a Balkenkreuz on it. It's a German tank.
Yeah, right. Oh fuck. Deal with that later. While we're here, just 1 second. Let me look that up, Nate. So I was wrong. They did modify the M4A3s later in the war, and this setup is technically called. Well, they were nicknamed Zippo tanks, but this is actually called
Why is that?
an M4A3 HVSS. HVSS means the late war suspension. It's different from the Christie suspension earlier in the war. A POA CW5 H5 flamethrower. Came out in 45. They definitely were used in Korea. I'm just not sure if they were used in Iwo Jima or Okinawa, but definitely a very late war modification. And yeah, they are M3. They are A3s. So. Oh, and the Hago, that was cool to see. That was a real Hago. Very rare.
Japanese tanks are pieces of shit.
They hardly
Oh,
used them
fuck.
too.
There were a few uses of them that actually were almost, dangerous, but the Sherman was the Tiger of the Pacific. So it doesn't really matter. Like every time they were on an island and it's like, we're going to have a tank attack. It's like, terrain sucks, your crews are shit, and any American tank you run into can kill you.
Yep.
And how do you
they
get
showed
them on
that
an
well.
island?
There was a big attack in the Pacific that they show a little bit. There was a tank attack. And then,
That's what I was gonna
that's a
say.
CG. Yeah, that's like the CG one.
yep. And then.
It's actually pretty good for the time, actually.
No, I thought that's a good. Well, it does show that the tank the Hago tank takes 175 from a Sherman and just blows it apart.
I think that thing actually did run and move. I think the turret moving was all CG, if I remember correctly. I can't remember.
I think it's a real prop. I think it's a real thing.
Well,
it was a real prop.
I watched it recently, and the turret moving is definitely CG. But yeah.
Um,
Well,
I'm gonna put this to the
actually, I
test.
actually have the glasses now to say that. So now, actually,
These glasses see the
Yeah.
truth.
I do love the depictions of Jap tanks. The only real crazy one was on Saipan, I believe, where they had an actual armored attack that made it to the coast, like through the American beachhead. So that was pretty bad. There was one famous one on Guadalcanal that tried to cross the western perimeter for the top of the Mat Canal. It was stopped by like 137mm anti-tank gun and a bunch of Marines that were really pissed off. So, but yeah, it's, they were just really shitty tanks. It's just, countries make things because of their experience, and the Japs never really needed a tank. And then they fought the Soviets in Call and Go, and they're like, oh shit, we really need a tank. But then the war, the war in the South happened, so they didn't really need too much stuff. But T-34 is fighting that shit. It's just really crazy to think about.
It's interesting. We're talking about that scene in the Pacific where they have the Japanese tanks at Peleliu coming up, and I think there's 2 of them. It's in I have one of the original scripts of that episode, signed and everything like that. I mentioned it on one of our last episodes, but when I was reading it, that scene in the script, it says, interestingly, it says that there are Japanese like in nets on the side of it that are shooting, and they didn't do that in the show, but it's written in the script. I wonder if that was ever a thing, like when it comes to Japanese
like
armor.
Cargo nets.
Yeah, I'll have to read this. What it actually says, but it's like Japanese soldiers in nets
on
the sides of the tank.
So unlike Timber on the Edge of Fury, they just strap the soldiers.
That's what the
onto
script
side.
says. I'll take a photo of it and send it to you. Send the text to you. But
put on the
yeah, I was
deflection
like,
shields.
That's weird. But clearly they said no to that when they shot the episode. So I don't know.
Put it on deflection. Put on deflection shields on the full. Like
I've read a couple.
It's like Scrim, but there's Japanese soldier in it.
It's kind of interesting. I've read a couple scripts from original scripts from Band of Brothers episodes. There's some differences. So yeah, things do get changed around. That wasn't it. I was like, is that a thing that they did? I don't think so. I've never heard of that.
Did Tom Hanks shoot someone in the face? Is that what I'm hearing in the original one? Is that what happened? Or
don't ever bring that up again, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, and Band of Brothers with Tom Hanks is a French soldier and he kills all those people.
I'm sorry. Saving Private Ryan, in the original script, there were MG42s all over the fucking place.
Oh my god, guys!
They were dual mounted MG42 positions at every WM.
I am going to give you an ulcer, and that is my goal.
It's not even funny anymore. Oh my god!
No. You don't understand. It's funny to me.
I'm only doing this for my entertainment. I get it.
John Browning's amazingly made MG42.
Yeah. And his amazing high power. Yeah. Actually, he did make the high power. What am I talking about? duh.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And lastly, the flag raising. Yay.
Yeah, that happens at the end of the movie. Anyway,
this is a good time to interject our sticker trivia for the week. This week's
yes,
sticker
because we
trivia
keep forgetting it, and now
no,
we're back
Nathan
on it.
keeps forgetting.
No, asshole, you
Yeah,
forgot it one week, and then I mixed it I cut it out by accident. So we're 1 for 1.
So
okay?
Nathan keeps forgetting this. So this week's question is, what does Iwo Jima mean in Japanese? The first person to
Tiger
send
blood.
me a message. Yes, it means tiger blood. So the first person to message me tiger blood will not get a sticker. Especially if that person is from Maryland and his name is Nathan. But yeah, what does Iwo Jima mean?
I got no fucking idea.
Iwo Jima.
Volcanic sand. Okay, so cut that out.
Well, yeah, when you edit it.
Jesus Christ.
It's the place where Michael's Dutch homeland is.
Yes.
Iwo
yes.
Jima.
Hey.
Yes.
My homeland is
Isn't
Idaho.
that Iceland, technically?
Idaho? I'm not the hoe.
Oh, never heard that one before, Brian.
It's like took your fucking like Family Guy voice out. Like, wow, thank you. That's a joke. What are you gonna do next? Give me some fry sauce?
Yeah. Oh, potatoes. Oh,
wow.
Easy joke.
Yeah, I got a potato quad gun in the garage. You ever make a potato flak cannon?
I've made a potato gun before. I've made one. I've used one of those.
Who would have
before.
guessed,
That's
Spud?
fun.
You know, like
Yeah. Oh, don't make fun of me.
don't make fun of me.
see, it's like What comes out of my state? Like white collar crime.
Assholes.
What comes out of Nate's state? Like more assholes and meth addicts.
Whoa.
What comes out of
Crabs.
Wisconsin?
Crabs.
Really awesome cheese. And what comes out of Idaho? Really
Great potatoes.
really
my
good
friend.
potatoes you can't buy in Idaho because we send them all out of state. Like,
Yeah, you're welcome.
In 49 states, you can get something that they make in the 50th state, but you can't buy there.
Yeah. Getting Idaho potatoes here, it's like buying fucking crack or something. You gotta know a guy who knows a guy.
Got that spud.
Yeah.
So I have the thing that comes out of my state, and Mike B's had them now.
Oh, the Old Bay chips?
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, those things are awesome.
Hell yeah. Utz's, baby.
Yeah, those things are
Can't
awesome.
find them anywhere else.
Yep.
That's right. Utz is a Baltimore thing.
Yeah. It's the only good thing that comes out of that fucking city. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Hot take. Hot take.
You should have told me to fasten my seatbelt. I was not ready for that.
What? It's a fucking fact. Life hits you like a fucking freight train sometimes with the truth.
A little warning would have been nice. But yes.
Birch.
How do you know? You've never been here. You don't know. You might like it.
No,
You might like Baltimore. You haven't been.
I'll speak for him.
You gotta see the Domino Sugar Factory.
You
might like it.
I don't like
I took
cities.
that bullet for you.
I don't like cities to begin with.
I know.
And if they're fucking,
Yeah.
if there's a lot of crime and shit, and just people being generally shitty, I'm done. I'm not even gonna fucking.
I've been where you live. I can tell you don't like cities.
I lived in a fucking city for a couple of years, and I hated every fucking minute of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Like there's just too many goddamn people, and they're all fucking retards. But
Nate has a really high crime area too. You know, he's got to watch out for.
one guy in college just gets his head cut off, and it's a high crime rate area. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
all right.
I know
for everyone.
My neighbor's son murders his family and tries to shoot himself. Fuck me.
No, he didn't try
Two-
to shoot himself. He tried to shoot some other people. So yeah.
Oh, sorry. 2 blocks away, you know, fucking like a county judge was murdered by his fucking constituent. But
High-
no, it's not very
high crime
no.
rate area. Apparently,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
It's
talking
like an
about.
episode of CSI or something.
Dude, like fucking every day it's like Nate's like, yeah, some fucking horse murderer came through town. or
Horse
something.
murder?
I don't know, like, you know.
That's a new one.
What is he fucking part of the Godfather?
Putting horses in people's beds.
All you did was wave at him and say, "Oh, look at the horse murderer," and then he came back through town later in the day.
so, are you saying he murders horses, or he makes horses fuck people to death?
Yeah, a little bit of both. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column.
Mr. Hands.
Depends on
Mr.
the
Hands
town,
who?
you know?
You know, there's a documentary about someone that happened to.
Oh, God.
All right,
Mr.
let's,
Hands, dude.
let's get in.
It's
I don't
let's
Mr.
get into.
Hands.
Let's get in.
It's Mr.
Let's wrap
Hands.
this motherfucker up. Let's wrap this motherfucker up.
Okay,
All right,
okay.
this
My
is
name
just-
is John
this
Wayne.
is turning
and
into a
this is Mr.
shite.
Hands.
You're right.
Too
Michael.
deep?
Yeah.
This
Too
is all
deep?
this is.
Too deep?
No, I don't give a fuck. I just want to wrap this shit up.
The
So
Disney ride where John Wayne takes you on, you know, artificially inseminating.
I want the
a horse.
Mr. Hands carnival ride.
okay, dick sacks. Let's begin. Okay, so
All right,
Okay,
go.
you were gonna hit it off.
Go,
dude.
go, yeah. If you're
Yeah,
if you're leading the charge, I know you want to get
until
this done,
Brian's
so-
snide little fucking remark about, and then it brought us down that shit show.
Well,
so.
I'm sorry that it rhymes.
Stop making my job harder. Just go.
Oh, you're fucked this week. I mean,
Well,
it's-
I know ways to make it sound good, but don't keep saying that one thing. That's the hardest thing to cut if you're leading the conversation like that.
Stop saying that word.
No.
that thing.
Go.
Okay. Are we
Go.
ready? Are you sophistified?
Go.
Did I begin?
Just say
I'm ready.
Gandhi. Okay.
Gandhi did.
Oh my
You still
God.
haven't looked it up, have you?
And my case gone.
Yeah, I don't blame him. But all right. Anyway, back on track.
Yeah, we get back to
This
the
is
final.
turning into a shite.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts. Who wants to go
All right.
first?
All right. So, yeah. Again, all this shit we talked about, where it's got its place in time. Again, so did the fucking Beatles, right? They got here at the right time. They had the right publicists. They got famous, and they're fucking mediocre at best. Same thing with John Wayne. Same thing with the film. It was in the right place at the right time, I guess. It was highly publicized. Oh my God, rah rah. So I do understand all that. Now, As far as the film itself is concerned, like we talked about, the acting was shit. A lot of the practical effects and the extras, oddly enough, were really decent, especially for that time. The equipment, the uniforms, the toys, the vehicles, and shit like that, not bad. The setting, the actual set, like on Betio, not bad. But like the rest of it, you can just tell it's like it's just a standard war film from that time period, right? And again, I'm going to be very negative about them, just like with most of them, except for a select few. And yeah, it's overall, it's going to be a 5.8 out of 10. So that's mine. Mike A.
So yeah, it's a thing of its time. I can't really watch it and say, oh, this is, I can't watch it with the brain the modern brain that I have. But I see it more as a curiosity. It's more just like, oh, this is interesting to view because this is what this would have been like at the time. This is what entertainment was back then. So that's always something that you have to factor in, or you have to look at it as. But yeah, it's a thing of its time. It's a John Wayne film. It put it in the genre of John Wayne movies. It's I think if I was the only reason I would ever watch it again is just to watch some of the stock footage, so I could rip it and put it in my archives. But because it's really good quality in the movie.
HD stuff that's online right now is really good, actually.
Yeah. But other than that, there's no reason to watch it. It's not interesting to me at all. It's very formulaic in terms of its narrative. Don't care about the love scene that doesn't really go anywhere.
Christ.
It doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I think really the only takeaway is from just some of the visuals and stuff like that are kind of neat in the stock footage if you're into that. I think I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I said it, 6 out of 10.
You did.
Yeah. So we'll go. I'm waiting. Every time I give it a rating, I'm waiting for Nate to be like, "What the fuck?
I don't do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
You gave Master and Commander this rating."
Anytime you give anything above a 7 is when I give you shit. When the movie should be shit. Because you gave Master and Commander a 7.
Oh, I did. Okay.
So yes.
My perception of different numbers fluctuates as time goes on. So,
dude, I mean, the scores we gave to the movies in the beginning are rough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
right.
We just beat it into the ground. And we're like, it doesn't have the correct fucking uniform. 2 out of 10, fucking idiots. Like, we evolve. We have evolved
grown so
after
much.
78
episodes.
78, 77.
More movies.
Yeah.
We've reviewed more war films than most humans have seen more movies.
That's true. Yeah.
For the most
That's
of the
sad,
time.
by the way.
Yeah.
Well, it's a 130-year-old, art form, so it's not like, oh, nobody's seen paintings before. So it's like, well, it is the newest form of art. So
I would just say, like, I think some of our beginning ones, I would change it to be a little bit more forgiving in some aspects, or more punishing in some aspects. I think all of us are growing.
We could do a redux eventually for
of some of them,
ones.
yeah.
Like, I know Nate really wants to do We Were Soldiers again.
If you make me do that one more time, I'm out.
Oh no, I'm not.
I can only talk about that laundry scene so many times. Okay, I can't do that. But no, I mean, like, I didn't mean to derail us, but yeah, no, I mean,
okay.
I think going back, like, I would probably give Waltz Bashir a better score, probably now, and
Why? It's a fucking cartoon.
That's what I said too. I'm giving him a bone, okay? I'm giving him a bone. That's his ridiculous 10. Okay, that's fine.
I love that.
That's fine. I'm not gonna judge him. Same way he'll judge me on fucking April 9th. That's fine.
Yeah, and Patriot.
Shut your fucking mouth. We haven't done that yet. You don't know what my score is, okay?
I know what your score is on that movie.
You have no idea what my score is on that. You have no
All right.
The Remy Malik, if you want to talk about Remy fucking Malik, you're 0.1 on Midway. Don't fucking go there.
Nate is getting worked up. To be continued on this one.
Keep poking.
Flags of Our
Poking.
Fathers will get a
Keep poking.
0.0001.
Okay, You know what?
You know what?
You really want to get serious here? Yeah.
Watch out, he's gonna give Pearl Harbor a better rating than Flags Are Off.
Oh my god! If you give Pearl Harbor a 10, although I have
7.1.
If you give Pearl Harbor a fucking good rating, I will send you a VHS copy because I have 5 of them now. So
I appreciate
you'll
that.
get one in the mail.
Well, now that you're in a mood, Nate, what's your
I'm
score
in a
for this
mood.
movie? Yeah.
That I'm in a mood. You haven't seen my moods yet.
He has
Shit.
fits.
I have little rages, okay?
Now that you're having an episode, tell us what.
Anyway, all right. So yeah, I'll go. No, I think what Mike A said in a sense. It's like, and what I said in the beginning. It's like this is a film to put in its own box, but at the same time, we can't compare it in its own box. We have to compare it to the rest of it. And I think what makes it stand out, like I said in the beginning, is the extras, the props, even some of the locations. I don't like Iwo, I like Tarawa better, but I liked it for it made do. I think the practical effects are great for 49, absolutely incredible. And I think it's at that start of the point where we're going from stage production to massive epics. And I think that is a very telltale sign to where the industry was going. And I think large outside epic scenarios is where the whole industry was going. And I think that's very cool to see that in its infancy, because through the 50s and the 60s, if we weren't doing stage, we were having those grand epics. Like Mike A referenced Spartacus and those massive things, and it leads into Waterloo and all that other stuff. And so I think in that sense it holds really high for me. But it is definitely hindered by its production within the sets of the green screens with the Jeep going like this. It's of the time. And so, I mean, I think, all in all, between John Wayne and all that kind of stuff, I think I give it... I'm stuck between 2 scores, I'll just say it. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 Screaming Mel Gibsons. I almost gave it a 5.5, but I'll give it a 6.5 because I think we could have gotten more hand flailing. We could have gotten studio ricochet noise and nothing happens and grabs his chest.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But most of the time, we got impacts next to the actor. We got stuff hitting behind him. We had extras flailing around and actually falling in a realistic fashion and putting emphasis on that. And I have to give a half a point to the guy who almost broke his neck in a foot of water.
Yeah.
So, I got to give it to that. But I mean, all in all, I really do like it for what it is. I did say it was a piece of shit. I do think it's a piece of shit. But it's because it's the era it was made in. I don't like those films. Like Mike B said, I don't like black and white films. Most of the time, I don't like black and white films of that era because it's so heavily propagandistic. And I feel the same way for anything made by the Soviets. It's the same thing. I like my media uninfluenced, I think it would be the great way to say it. And so, not that I hate it, it's not my cup of tea. But I appreciate the effort it went into making it, 100%. So I'm gonna give it a 6.5. Keeping it semi in its box, I think that's where I'm gonna sit.
Decent.
It's Brian's
Is
turn.
it Brian? Okay, I couldn't remember who went.
Yeah, there's no other option.
I had a blinding rage and I couldn't remember who went. So sorry.
Yeah, that episode.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Sorry, I
understand.
blacked out. Yeah.
Somebody said Pearl Harbor VHS, and then
Yeah.
it was like he was back in the Eagle Squadron.
His eyes started to twitch.
Yeah, right.
Who knows? It might actually be better. I haven't given it a chance yet, so we'll see. That's
It's
how I'm gonna
not.
watch it when we review it. Eventually, when we reach, I'm doing it on VHS
not.
because it's the only way it's gonna fucking live up to
Brian,
anything.
it's not.
It's not. Yeah. Don't be
No.
optimistic.
I just whenever I watch that movie, I forget, or at least I'm reminded of how many 1911 magazines a pilot can store in his A1 or A2 flight jacket.
I'm also
It's
reminded
like,
how many times the Colt 45 sounds like an M1 Garand
Yeah, with a ping as well.
with a ping. Yeah.
Pistols ping sometimes.
I've never gotten mine to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something's wrong with mine.
Yeah. Maybe John Wayne could, but no, this is a really funny movie. It has some good
Funny,
scenes.
haha.
It's got a lot of bad scenes. Like I said earlier, it's really
like the most well produced World War II propaganda movie, but it didn't come out until 1949. It's set in that 42 to 45 mindset, and it's way more akin to Gung Ho than it is to Manchurian Candidate. You know, it's this post-war movie, but it's set firmly in the wartime era. And it's very interesting because it cemented, the Iwo Jima flag raisers in the American culture, and it really cemented John Wayne as being a real American icon. Here he is fighting the Japs in the Pacific and on the big screen and everything. And lastly, it really does start this genre of war movies. The most amount of war movies about a war are about World War II. And you start to see that after the Second World War. You get a few things in France in like 46. You get like Battle of the Rails, or there's another famous film called like the Parachute Battalion. And then slowly you get things like this. And, you won't have a Where Eagles Dare if you don't have the Sands of Iwo Jima. You won't have a Hell is for Heroes if you don't have a Sands of Iwo Jima. So many films that were made because of the success of this film that we all love and enjoy really just, have to have some kudos to this film because it was just so, like Nate said, it was an epic. It was a war epic, and it was really trying to encapsulate some experiences of, the Allies during the Second World War in the Pacific. And it's very much a product of its time, but it does a lot for what we review and for our genre and everything. So that being said, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Yes, it's a John Wayne movie. Yes, it's 1949. Yes, we could beat it for so many things, but it's very important. It's not like the Green Berets where like we could forget about that and then who cares? But without the Sands of Iwo Jima, a lot of things that come later wouldn't have come later. So it's a very interesting movie in that aspect. Yeah. So that being said, putting all the scores we have into the computer that will tell us if John Wayne's leathery skin will ever become not leathery. And we get a score of 6.325 out of 10.
Moisturize.
Falls firmly in the Thursday night matinee category of, not a weekend movie, but it's, like Michael said, it's a curiosity.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but that downwind radiation ain't gonna make that skin less leathery.
No, fucking Genghis Khan. Especially if they're blowing it in my face. So.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Just kidding.
He was Genghis Khan. I have to fucking watch that. It's been I think last time I watched it I was like 5 years old on TV. I should watch that.
I want to have James on to do that.
Well, how you doing, little lady? I'm Genghis Khan. Like, oh my god. He's got Fu Manchu or something in there, right?
He does. Really bad Fu Manchu. Yeah.
Oh. Can't wait.
Take that, John Wayne.
Yeah.
Zinged you on
Zinged you, yeah.
Podcast.
The one redeeming factor is, John Wayne did get more ass than a fucking toilet seat at a Taco Bell in his lifetime. Like
that is
that
true.
guy slayed bitches left and right.
Yeah.
Oh,
If anyone can lay pipe, John fucking Wayne was a plumber. goddammit.
He must have had a fucking hog. Like, I mean,
there's a hilarious photo of him and Steve McQueen drunk at a party, and they're both like almost making out. It's kind of strange.
Interesting.
Pretty
that'd
funny.
be a good AI generated porn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who fetishizes about that?
A lot of people.
Hey, Steve, I got something for
a
you.
lot of closeted boomer men that got divorced 10 years ago but are too scared to come out.
That's very true.
Anyway, I'll stop hating on everybody for the day. Nate. Oh, I thought Nate froze.
The Navy and the fly
certain
boys
ones,
loaded
that's it.
plenty on the canal
Certain ones.
before we went in. When we got ashore, there were still a
You
lot
sound
of
like
those
Forrest Gump, by the way.
That's fine.
The
There were a
fly
lot of those.
boys did bit me in the buttocks.
When we got ashore, there were still a lot of those lemon-colored guys waiting for us. The only way that island was taken
Characters.
was by putting Marines on the beach. Oh, you're correcting me for my
Your vicarious racism, Brian.
Yeah, And on that note, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a rating. Otherwise, Mel Gibson won't stop screaming. If you like this content, make sure to check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. If you want to directly support our work, make sure to check out our Patreon. All these links are in the description below. Until the next time, Scuttlebutt out.